The final area is a massive combat challenge made up of a dozen head crabs and zombies, a blind zombie, and a reviver or lightning dog which can invade and reanimate corpses, granting them new attacks and abilities. There was originally a large amount of smoke intended to obscure the player's vision, but the amount of particles brought the performance to the floor, so I ended up removing most of it. There's not enough smoke to cause a noticeable difference in gameplay, but combined with the lighting, it does add to the overall atmosphere. The first room has several crates and items to replenish the player's health and ammo. There is a hackable combine locker near some spores on the wall, and if the player gets too close and is not covering their mouth with their hand, they will begin coughing, which causes Jeff to run to the player's position. I also placed a Zen grenade, hoping it would catch the player's eye. If the player gets too close, a jump scare is triggered in the form of a zombie breaking the window of the locked door nearby. The noise also causes Jeff to investigate. This is another scripted sequence that can potentially play out, adding some excitement and danger to an otherwise static looting and prep sequence. As the player progresses through the rooms, the lightning dog wakes up and possesses a nearby corpse, waking up the other zombies and kicking off the combat encounter. Combat music also plays until the lightning dog is defeated, and another blind zombie bangs loudly on the door in reaction to the surrounding noise. The second Jeff is currently trapped and can't join the fight, but the banging adds to the chaos and is intended to spark more fear in the player. There is a door which requires an orange keycard to unlock. Through the window in the door, the player can see the door is used to trap Jeff in the main campaign. Adding Jeff to a combat environment is something the base campaign doesn't do, and defeating a lightning dog on top of that is asking a lot of the player. I wanted to provide a way to make the player's life easier, but I wasn't going to give it to them for free. They had to work for it. The player must first find the keycard, which is behind a hackable combine door. This is a relatively easy puzzle, but the player will now be solving it with a horde of enemies closing in on their position. I wanted to put pressure on the player while they work to solve a puzzle that would be easier under normal circumstances. In order to succeed, they'd have to really focus and solve the puzzle quickly. A benefit of the freedom of VR is the player's ability to engage in combat while working on the puzzle in real time. There's no need to put the player in another menu separate from the game, or to pause the combat and take control away from the player's primary actions like aiming and shooting. This can all be done without interrupting the flow of combat thanks to Valve's implementation of hacking, though solving puzzles in the combat scenario is rarely seen in the campaign. If I were to make this section less difficult, I would lower the difficulty of the puzzle even more, and/or give the player another escape route rather than keeping them stuck in a small corner where they will likely die if they take too long, either due to the amount of zombies in a small area or Jeff's one-shot attack. If the player succeeds in completing this puzzle, the combine door will open and they can begin searching the room. The keycard is in a drawer, and there is some more health and ammo as well as a gas mask which the player can wear, so they no longer need to manually cover their mouth in order to avoid coughing when inhaling spores. When the player gets too close to the door where the gas mask is hiding, a bottle rolls off the shelf and will shatter if the player doesn't catch it, alerting Jeff. There are several combine fences in this area. This was once again to limit the player's movement. The zombies can pass through these barriers, leaving the player open to ambushes from all sides. With the exception of the hackable combine door, the spaces are large enough for the player to maneuver that they will be able to make an opening in the enemies and escape the rooms even if there's only one path available to the player. It is asking a lot of the player to not only realize that Jeff can be trapped, but also for them to successfully hack a combine door mid-combat, retrieve the keycard, and make it back to the door. So rather than the player luring Jeff over, I saved them some time and effort by sending the blind zombie to a waypoint once the keycard door has been opened. Jeff runs into the room, the player can then close the door and shut the latch, and continue fighting the lightning dog in a much less dangerous scenario.